Hey everybody, welcome back to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. Just watched, finally, Abigail, 2024 film, 1 hour and 49 minutes. It was a long one. It felt long. This movie is scoring right now 7.1 at the time of filming on IMDb. IMDb has it listed as a horror thriller. I saw on Wikipedia it also includes comedy. And yeah, it's got some bits of dark comedy in it for sure. A lot of one-liners. Um, there is a character who is somewhat of a comic relief character. Um, so if you're not familiar with Abigail, that's kind of trending right now in the horror world. I don't know that the film is actually performing as well as Universal Studios would have hoped. Um, this story is about a group of criminals that kidnap Ballerina, daughter of a powerful underworld figure. They retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. Directors are Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette. Writers Stephen Shields and Guy Busick. Guy Busick should sound familiar to everyone. Our top cast, the fantastic Melissa Barrera plays Joey. She is probably the main co-star next to Abigail herself, played by Alicia Weir. And Catherine Newton would be probably, aside from Melissa Barrera, one of the more recognizable people in the cast. She plays a character named Sammy. She was most recently in Lisa Frankenstein, and she's been in other stuff as well. And Giancarlo Esposito is in this as a character named Lambert. And uh, so, little backstory to this: Universal Studios, they're trying to redo their MonsterVerse. Kind of, they tried a few years ago with a connected universe that kind of fell apart. So they're doing like one-shot reimaginings. One of the better of all that they've done so far has been The Invisible Man. Um, and there is a Wolfman or Werewolf project. I think that was supposed to release later this year. Hopefully, it still will. This one actually follows suit with a reimagining of a movie from 1936 called Dracula's Daughter. And this is in the Dracula 1931 franchise. So this movie has its roots in the old movies, but it's not even like close to anything pertaining to that story. So I don't even know why anyone would make a suggestion that this is a reimagining of Dracula's Daughter, other than, spoiler alert, Abigail is a vampire. If you haven't seen a trailer that gave that away. And that's probably my main nitpick of this movie, is that if I didn't know Abigail was a vampire going into this, maybe it would have been a little bit more suspenseful. So when the twist is revealed, it would have been more of like how From Dusk Till Dawn kind of switched gears so fast, and then all of a sudden you realized that this wasn't just a kidnapping scenario. And that's why I used From Dusk Till Dawn, because it was kind of similar premise where it was like a kidnapping and then things go sideways because vampires become involved. So Lambert is appearing to have hired this group of ragtag, seemingly unfamiliar with each other, kidnappers, bad guys, to steal this ballerina. They have a beautiful opening scene for the movie. I really loved it. We see Abigail on stage performing in a big theater to the literal opening music to the 1931 Dracula movie. I immediately heard it first tone and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And okay, it's also from Swan Lake, big deal. But I associate it with the 1931 Dracula movie. And that music is sprinkled out a few more times in the movie as well. This movie does a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff, and I was actually surprised slash annoyed by the amount of times the audience laughed. Like, I did find some of the humor to be humorous, but I not to the level where I was feeling compelled to laugh out loud. And I do love when audience reaction is audible and you can hear other people gasping or laughing at things. But like for a horror movie like this, I think it could have been like just a tad bit elevated in my preference if it were um, just take it down a notch with the humor thing. So we get these, five uh, kidnappers. They kidnap Abigail. This is no spoiler or secret. They take her to the location. All we have to do is wait it out for 24 hours until Abigail's dad provides the money for the ransom to Lambert, and then they can just all go home. And we spend a lot of time at the beginning of the movie establishing each one of their character traits. And we also establish cell phones have to be turned into Lambert so nobody can call out, which is, if you watch my review, something I point out every time. Because there's no way around that, actually. You have to either take the cell phones or be in the woods where there's no signal. So we kind of get this introduction to the team. And of course, we automatically aren't supposed to be liking any of them. They're kidnappers. And so there is nothing very redeeming of any of them, except for Melissa Barrera's character, Joey, who, in throughout the movie, we're rooting for Abigail and Joey, and they're on two different sides of the team, uh, you know, of the thing that's going on. So keeping the spoiler free, I'm gonna kind of like just scan my notes because I had to, like watching a movie and not being able to write notes like watching on Tubi or something is hard for me. Yeah, so Christophe Lazar was Abigail's father. Once some of the people on the team realize that that's whose daughter they kidnapped, they freak out. They don't want to be a part of it anymore. The guy is referred to as the Antichrist, and that he has henchmen that do very awful things and mutilate and whatever else. But then they realize they're trapped in the big house, the mansion that they're in, so they can't escape even if they wanted to. And then we get more character development, so to speak, with them, and then we get uh, to where they realize that they have to get rid of Abigail, and things go sideways because one of the team ends up dead, and that starts to escalate the whole rest of the story. They don't suspect Abigail, so they are thinking that the henchmen have arrived and they had a way into the house, and then it becomes kind of like a search and escape kind of a deal. And then they all decide they have to check on Abigail. And then that's where, like in the trailer, it's literally a scene from the trailer. It's kind of revealed what's really going on. And I won't go too much more into the plot itself because there are a lot of interesting things that happen. I liked Abigail very much, actually. I liked her character. I like the backstory that they give her. She spills the tea at one point as to why everything is going down the way it has. I liked the way she acted, Alicia Weir. She did a great job as this little ballerina vampire, and it was cute at times. And then the movie doesn't shy away from blood and gore. There is a lot of blood in this movie. I was actually surprised how much blood there was. They must have went through gallons and big barrels of blood, and so like it just escalates the gross factor. Vampires do what vampires do. They bite people, and people who get bit, stuff happens to them. Just research vampire lore. And this movie does a good job of reminding us of some of the tropey vampire rules, sunlight, garlic, stake to the heart, uh, all that kind of stuff. And, it's kind of exploited in in the movie just a little bit. I kind of think it was a little tongue-in-cheek too at one point. But once the tea has been spilled, it becomes a very much cat and mouse. Now the remaining members of the team are just trying to get out, and it's just a matter of time before Abigail, does catch up to each of them. And the third act is just very action packed. There's some gross stuff. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of violence. There's even more backstory told. There's more behind the scenes planning that was done with Lambert, and we learn more about his character, because all the while you kind of forget, you lose track that he's there, that he brought everybody there. So then when it's revealed where he's been, and then he spills the tea, so to speak, on what his part in everything is. And it was kind of neat. It turns out that, after hearing Abigail's story, maybe Joey was, sympathetic a little bit, but she was also fearful for her life. So she's kind of back and forth between killing and just running, trying to get to Abigail. At the end of the movie, people that we didn't like at the beginning of the movie give us more reason to not like them. Other people make deals to help each other out. We get down to final girls, and Dad shows up, and I also didn't like that. That's one of my other nitpicky things, like the ending was a little anticlimactic when the Abigail father shows up that we had built up at the beginning of the movie to be like this horrific character. And they even hammed up that character a little bit too much for my taste. Overall, though, this is a very enjoyable film. It's fun. I'm a big Universal monster fan, so I really wished I would have seen this sooner to jump in with my thoughts on it. But hour and 49 minutes, and the slow burn part of it at the beginning, but once it ramps up, it's really fun. But go into it knowing that there's probably more comedy in it than you might expect, with a lot of cheesy one-liners by everyone. Like, it's not even just, there's one particular character that does it more than others, but everybody gets their share of it. I liked Kathryn Newton better in this than I did Lisa Frankenstein, and you can leave your hate comments down below at the bottom of the screen here, because I know that Lisa Frankenstein has a love-hate relationship with a lot of people. It's I think it's going to be one of those cult classic-y movies. I think Abigail is going to be one of these fade away into the sunset, so to speak, movies. Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of potential for a franchise out of this, maybe. But it's a heist movie that goes sideways and becomes a vampire movie. So the formula wasn't done as well as it was done in From Dusk Till Dawn. Leave your comments down below. I'm going to end this. I've been rambling on. Thanks for tuning in to this review of Abigail, and keep coming back to the channel for more great stuff.
Row 18, plot 20.